Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. My name is Laura and this is the Learning Tree Studio. This is a place where teachers can come for great ideas and inspiration. So this time we are going to be filling out an after the pen video for my lesson plans for next week. This is the week of February 22nd through the 26th. So let's go ahead and get started. So I like to use something called the 5E lesson plan format, and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. And I will do a video eventually explaining it a little bit more in detail, but this is kind of what it goes over. It kind of goes in this order. Well, I mean, it does go in this order: engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. Now, I do this over a few weeks. So I may do 2 or 3 days of engage, 3 or 4 explore. The explain is more of a lecture format or just providing notes about what it is that we're doing. And I usually only spend 1 day, maybe 2 on that, because I really think that the elaborate and the explore are the most important parts of the 5E lesson. And the evaluate, of course, is kind of seeing what they did, how they came up with what they've learned from what I've taught. And usually, since I teach high school, I think it's really important for them to really know how to write. So a lot of my evaluates for all of my classes are an essay. It's more of a reflective essay about what they learned in the class and how it can be used in the future in their careers or just in their life. So that's usually what I do for evaluate. It's one of my goals for the year for the test, the T-test, and it kind of just says that I want my students to be writing more. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on this week's plans. All right, so if you watched my video, the first video I made, it was going over and putting all the stickers down in my Happy Planner for my teacher lesson plan. This is a big format for Happy Planner, and it goes into my big lesson planner. And so we're just gonna kind of go in and fill in my days. Now, I always talk about I want it to be functional, so my conference has a lot of the stickers. My Practicum students go to schools Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays to do observations at an elementary school and help out with the teachers. So that's why that part is covered up. And then my reminders and extracurricular, I kind of just put like a little jot list of things to do. But if it's anything major, then I won't have anything there. So I just kind of went with a floral theme this time, and I really enjoyed how it turned out. So let's take a look at human services for the week. So last week we were online, and we just had days off because of the bad weather here in Texas. So a lot of the Mondays are going to be just making up work. So I'll just put makeup work from last week. Makeup work from last week. And then Tuesday, I'm going to be doing an explain this week, or literally this month in human services. We're talking about childcare and child development, teachers, psychologists, things like that, anything that deals with children. So I'm going to do a childcare PowerPoint that day. So this is going to be an explain day. So I'll write explain. And I'm going to do a childcare PowerPoint, and it's going to talk about all of the different options that people have for childcare at home daycares, preschools, Montessori schools, those types of things, and jobs that relate to childcare. So that's what we're going to do that day. And then we're going to go into an elaborate. So I'm going to put elaborate down here. And the elaborate we're going to do for the rest of the week, and that is going to be starting your own daycare project. Yes, that's Wednesday. Yep. So we're going to start create your own daycare. Project. And then we're just going to continue doing a rough draft for these 2 days. So we'll put rough draft. And rough draft. I'm actually going to have them put it on a big poster board. First, they're going to come up with their rules and regulations and things like that, how they're going to staff and everything like that, and then they will move on to designing it with like on a big poster board where they're going to put all of their elements that they had to put in. All right, so now let's move on. I'm going to skip conference. We're going to go to family and community next. All right, so now we're going to move on to family and community service. It's a class that kind of focuses on different ways that the students can help out their family and their community. There's not a lot of TEKS, which is Texas's things that we're supposed to be teaching them. But so I kind of had to play around with it this year. It's my first year to teach it, and it's the second year that the class is being offered at our high school, so I really had to be creative. So this week, my students are basically going to be doing what they were supposed to be doing last week, even though we were out for school. A lot of them didn't have access to internet or anything like that. So this week, we are going to be focusing on doing a nonprofit. So 2 weeks ago, they had to research different nonprofits. And so then this week, they're going to be creating their own nonprofit and having to do like a logo. They had to decide what fundraising events they were going to do to get money for their nonprofit. They had to have a motto and a slogan, and things like that. So that is basically what they're going to be doing this week, since last week was kind of a washout for that. And this would go under the elaborate. So they're going to be doing the elaborate part of the 5E lesson plan. Elaborate. And they're going to be doing their it's hard to write with this, nonprofit Google slide project. Now, like I was saying earlier, this is the elaborate, where they can do more hands-on things and continue their ideas of it. So they're going to continue to do this Monday through Thursday. I think that's what I have. Yep. So Monday through Thursday. So I'm just going to draw an arrow because I don't want to have to keep writing it out. However, Friday is going to be the evaluate for that project. Now, the project is just a class grade. It's not a test grade, because I said earlier in the video that I want to do my test grades as their reflection essays. So I'm going to look through the teacher happy planner one, because I know, and I kind of already, it's not payday. There it is. Okay. So I have these little flags that I'm going to put. I'm going to use, we don't really have a lot of navy blue. Navy blue is my favorite color, but I'm trying to look and see if they have a pink one, and that kind of goes with the pink right there. So we're going to use this one here, and I'm going to put it right here on Friday for this class. They're going to be doing their reflection essay. So I'll put reflection essay, and they've been doing this all year. Basically, I'll give them an outline and say that they need to tell me what they learned about that week or the last couple of weeks, and how it relates to their future. So they may be working for a nonprofit in the future. They may want to start their own eventually, but they could also be working for a company that may need help from a nonprofit, or they could be in a company that supports a nonprofit. So that way they can at least understand what it is that they do and how they operate. All right, so now we're going to move on with human growth. Okay, so we're going to move on to human growth and development. This class basically goes from pregnancy all the way to death, and how we grow socially, how we develop mentally and physically throughout our life, and how it affects our education. So this week we are finishing up ages 1 through 3. This is all an elaborate, so this whole week is elaborate. And next week is when they will be doing their evaluation, the evaluate portion of the 5E lesson. They will be doing their reflection essay. So we'll talk about that in the next video. So for this week, they are, first of all, they're doing the makeup work on Monday. They had to do a bingo card of different evaluations of ages 1 through 3. Evaluate. So they need to make up work from last week. And so they're just going to finish their bingo card. So then on Tuesday, they're going to be doing a milestone matching activity. And to make this one a little bit more interesting, instead of just having them match stuff, I'm going to break them up into small groups and get a large piece of construction paper. And then I'm going to have them put a row of the top of the milestones or the age groups, and then down below they'll have their lines of the milestones that they reached during that age group, and I'll check it before they glue it down, obviously, before I stick it outside the door. Then we will, so then I'm going to make it more interactive by having a contest to see who can get them all right the fastest. And I normally give out like boxes of candy and stuff from the dollar store. So I'll need to remember up here that I need to go to the store to buy candy for my human growth class by Wednesday, or by Tuesday, so that way they can go and do that activity and get the reward right there. So I'm going to go ahead and write right here. I know we have a meeting, so I don't really need to write that down, but I'm going to put get candy for human growth activity. So I remind myself that I need to go to the store and get candy for that. So they'll do that activity, and again, it's more hands-on. It's them manipulating things instead of just giving them a worksheet and having them like connect the dots or something like that. So then on Wednesday, they're going to be doing these Dear Abby posters. Dear Abby was some thing that kind of like a thing in a newspaper where they would write to Abby for advice. And so they're going to be doing Dear Abby posters in relation to ages 1 through 3. So one's like, Dear Abby, my child is biting at daycare, and how do I get him to stop it? And then the students will go online and on their Chromebooks and find an answer for that reason, and then they will write back. And again, just putting it on a poster just makes it a little bit more interesting for them. And again, I can put it out in the hallway in a way where I can have students look at it and go, oh, what class is that? I'd love to be in that class. It looks like fun. Because a lot of the students that get put in that class are just there because the counselor told them that they had to have an elective, and they get put in it. But if I make my class so interesting, people will actually want to sign up for the class, and it might be a high demand thing. So far my students love it. This is my first year to teach it. And then on Thursday and Friday, they're going to be doing their interactive notebook where they cut and paste, and it's basically just a kind of final overview of everything that they've learned from ages 1 through 3 for the last couple of weeks. And so then they're going to finish their interactive notebook. I've noticed that if I give them one day to cut and paste all of the things onto their large piece of construction paper, they make like a little booklet. and then I give them 1 day to find the information. Any more days after that, and they're wasting time. They're not actually doing the notebook. They're just sitting around doing nothing because they know that they have 2 or 3 days to finish it. So I'm just giving them 2 days, and then next week on Monday, they will do their final evaluate essay. So, all right, so that's it for human growth and development, and now we're going to look at practicum and do some reminders. So like I said earlier in the video, my practicum class are my juniors and seniors that go out into the elementary schools and do observations. They help out with the teachers and they love it. And so Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, they are at the school. So Mondays and Fridays are whenever we can do an assignment. They make lesson plans, they read picture books, we evaluate different lessons to see if they are quality lesson plans. So I went on to Teacher Pay Teacher, and I found this really awesome assignment where they had to go in and look at Instagram teachers, and they're actually going to send like a message to these Instagram teachers and ask them questions, and then they're going to do this whole thing. So I'll put a link in the comments for that assignment on Teacher Pay Teachers if you want to go and do that. So I'm going to put an Instagram teacher project. Now we also do in this class, we also do a Ron Clark. So I'm going to put Ron Clark. We're reading a book that Ron Clark wrote, and the kids read it. We do like a chapter a day, and they go in and do a 1-pager assignment on what they read that day. So then we have just the classroom here, and so then I'm going to do Ron Clark again down here. And then they're going to do their Instagram, make sure I spell everything right, teacher project, and it is a Google Slide assignment, so it is going to take a few days to do it, so they'll finish this on Monday, and I'm probably going to take it as a test grade. I'm not quite sure yet. I have to have at least 3 test grades because I'm an elective teacher, and it's really hard to get assignments graded for my practicum class because they're doing observations. So I want to make sure that I have enough test grades in there. So maybe next week I'll have another test today sticker for a few of them to make sure I get all of my test grades in. So now let's move on to some reminders for my extracurricular, and then we'll fill in kind of like a to-do list over here for my conference. All right, so the last part of my lesson plans for this week is to add in my to-do list for conference and then put in my reminders for my extracurriculars. So let's do the conference first. So I know that I need to grade some of my assignments. I'm kind of getting behind on that. I need to update the grades so that way my students know where they're at for that. And then I need to contact my students who have zeros. They're really starting to crack down on zeros, and then I also need to upload assignments for next week. So I do that on Thursday, and then if I need to go into Friday, that's fine as well. And so then now here are my reminders for my FCCLA and my extracurriculars. I need them to practice their presentations. We were supposed to go last week. Actually, today was the last day for our competition in Galveston, but Galveston's covered in snow and we all kind of lost power, so they moved it to March. So we still have some time to practice our presentations, which is really nice that we have that extra time because I had some students kind of at the last minute were getting stuff done. So they were awarded with extra time. We also need to finish some of the boards. They have these little presentation boards that they put behind them during their presentation. So we need to get all last minute finished details of that. And then I also need to ask for permission slips. So permission slips. We need to make sure all of that stuff gets turned in. And I know I'll have some more reminders. I know we need to have another meeting. So we'll make sure that we get that put in there. So I'll probably add a few more reminders as the week goes. And I think that's it. All right, so in the comments, if you have any questions about how I use the 5E lesson plan, you can put those down below. If you have a comment, if you like the spread, what do you think about the florals? I think this probably right here is my favorite part, with the flowers coming out of my long thing right there. And of course, I like my washi tape. So thank you so much again for watching. Make sure that you've subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.